that we have done recently is, we have introduced an agentic AI based bot. It's called DIA. DIA stands for Digital Innovative Yatra Application. What this does is, the customers can get a lot of their queries resolved, a lot of their work get done in real time. And like that has actually cut down cost and has experience and has enhanced the customer experience as well. In addition to that,
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. And this is our latest episode of the weekly live series. I am Simran Shiwalkar from the mainstream, and today we are joined by Mr. Dr. Shakti Goel. Firstly, sir, thank you so much for joining us today and being a part
sure.
of the series.
Yeah, sure. The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I will be taking a few moments to share a few things about Dr. Goel. To begin with, he is globally recognized tech, data, and product leader. Currently, also a chief architect and data scientist at Yatra Online Ltd. Dr. Goel brings over 23 years of experience driving digital and data led transformations across the United States of America, Europe, as well as India. A topper from IIT Delhi with a PhD from MIT, along with being an alumnus of MIT Sloan, he has won multiple accolades such as Chief Data Officer of the Year, Technology Officer of the Year, Data Scientist of the Year, and more. Today, he's going to be sharing his stories, his journey, some insights, and his vision for the future of tech, AI, and customer experience when we talk about travel today. Without any further ado, let's begin. Firstly, Dr. Goel, you've been driving meaningful innovation throughout your journey and now with multiple initiatives at Yatra as well and beyond. We talk about digital first companies today, and in travel, we have seen them grow, recently up to 20% higher with customer attention when tech is leveraged strategically. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how has it been so far, from a tech leader's perspective?
Yeah, sure. Simran, that's a great question. I have been at Yatra now for around 3 years. Yatra started in 2006 and was one of the very first companies to introduce technology in the travel space. And since then, the company has grown. It is known for innovation. And we have found that by using technology, we can actually gain an upper hand over our competition. So a few things that we have done recently is, we have introduced an agentic AI based bot. It's called DIA. DIA stands for Digital Innovative Yatra Application. What this does is, the customers can get a lot of their queries resolved, a lot of their work get done in real time. And like that has actually cut down cost and has experience and has enhanced the customer experience as well. In addition to that, on the digital front, we have completely digitized the expense management process. And what that means is, when our corporate employees travel, or when a customer's corporate employees travel, instead of submitting receipts manually and then having an army of people reviewing those receipts, we have completely digitized the process. And we developed an application called Recap, keeping in mind AI first approach. So what it means is that all the receipts are scanned using AI, using a large language model. Then we check for duplicates, we check for fraud. As a matter of fact, you can create an expense, not by typing, but like speaking to the application using a bot. It can say, hey, I took an auto from my office to the Indian Mall and I paid 100 rupees today. So like create an expense for me. So these kinds of things have not been there before. So we have been kind of the first ones to introduce this. So this has reduced a lot of paperwork. It has cut down a lot of costs on mundane tasks.
Right.
So these are the few things I've done. But I've been doing this kind of work for last 23 years, and basically I'm a chemical engineer by education. I My very first job or introduction was to a data warehousing project, and data warehouses are at the cusp technology and business, and I really enjoyed that. And since then I've worked in the area of data technology and product over the years. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Gul, for sharing that with us. We talk about technology a lot today. The frontier of AI and emerging tech in adoption, especially for travel, is kind of projected to grow up to 35 to 40% by the coming years, by 2027, right? From chatbots to predictive analytics.
Yeah.
And in this context, which emerging technologies do you believe will be truly defining or redefining the travel experience? And how do you, as a leader, decide which innovations are kind of worth investing, worth
Sure.
kind of putting your attention to, and which will give you a competitive edge. I mean, there are a lot of companies today which are growing up, a lot of D2C brands. We have seen Make My Trip, we have seen Clear Trip, a lot of international platforms growing as well.
That's a great question. And B2C industry, incidentally, has become a commodity space. It's that earlier edge that people had with technology. That advantage is not there anymore. Now the question comes, how well do you treat your customers?
Right.
And is there anything in technology that you can do to help your customers and minimize their travel pains?
Right.
So, few technologies that have come up, for example, agentic AI technology, which can do almost 90% of your mundane tasks. When the customers call in, you don't need a customer service person who first listens to the customer query and then tries to figure out how to respond to that. If you have well developed system, then it will say, okay, it will inform the customer about its booking, about the cancellation, about the rebooking process. If the person wants to design an itinerary, the system can do that very quickly without the involvement of a human being. So this gives an overall superior experience. Then with the large data technologies coming into play, you can store a lot of information. You can store all the searches, and the searches, when they convert to bookings, if you're looking for a hotel room, what hotels have you clicked on? What rooms have you clicked on? What exactly are you looking for in a hotel? Is it for breakfast? Is it half board? Is the cancellation policy? You can collect all this information, and then based on that, you can basically, and when you know like who the customer is, you can make recommendations accordingly. This is what the technology now is like telling me. So I mean, like, we can go to the extent, depending on the data you collect, depending on the mood of the person, you can play the right music when the person enters a room, or like you can spray the right fragrance, which is according to the customer's likeliness. These kinds of things are there. Then there is also the blockchain technology that we are looking at. So if we have got contract with our vendors and with our customers, we can use the blockchain technology to save those contracts in an immutable manner. Ultimately, the idea is to build a super app which can do anything and everything when it comes to travel. These are the innovations that are coming into play. Now, how do we use them? First of all, we want to give an experience to the customer before the customer even asks.
Correct.
The customer should not know that some technology is happening in the background. The customer should just, I mean, if a flight has been cancelled or the flight is delayed, then the system should know automatically that this particular person is on that flight, and then maybe offer a hotel voucher, before the flight cancellation or the delay is announced, things like that. Then also, internal processes can be enhanced. I gave an example of the expense management system. Similarly, in the finance, you get a lot of receipts, a lot of invoices. How do you read them? How do you track them? Now, using the vision analytics capabilities, of these large language models, we can analyze receipts and we can automate the entire payment. Just imagine the amount of workload it saves.
Correct.
So these are some of the areas that we are looking into, and some of the ways, some of the areas that technology is really helping us. Yeah.
Right. I mean, taking cues from what you just said, taking examples from the recent flight delays. Today, one bad experience can, cost a huge for any brand, when it comes to your customer loyalty as well as your brand name. A recent McKinsey study also revealed that 70% of travelers will kind of switch brands after a single bad experience. When we talk about organizations, struggling to balance personalization, automation, even deliver a solid human touch, to elevate this experience at scale, especially in today's, travel industry, which is very dynamic and competitive. What do you think should be some priorities? Can data play a huge role here? What is it that the tech can do differently?
So first of all, you have to see why the customer experienced, had a bad experience, right? Is it because, the customer had a query and you could not respond on time? Is
Right.
it that you were not able to anticipate the customer's requirement? Is it because the customer had to spend a lot of time on your platform before he or she could go anywhere? These are the things. So the way I would handle this is I would use data and technology to handle the customer needs. So, like for example, if they're like routine tasks, then AI, Gen AI, and agentic AI kind of systems can help resolve a lot of customer queries. So, for example, the Indigo flights are getting cancelled and delayed. The customer wants to know where the refund is.
Correct.
So we are automating that process. A customer can go to our bot and they can just look at the status of their flight and they can check, where the refund is. This is something very new, and a lot of our queries that come to customer service, phone numbers are like regarding this. Where is my refund? How do I rebook? Can you reschedule my flight? So
Right.
this is something that agentic AI can do, and human involvement is not even needed. And since technology is involved here, the whole process will be error free and flawless. If you can give this kind of experience, then the customer would like to stay with you. The second thing is adaptive engine, and this is again where the data comes in. And this is the example I gave earlier also, that if you know the customer, if you have developed customer personas correctly, then you can show recommendations as if you have read the customer's mind. If I want to go to Varanasi, why would I want to go to Varanasi? Varanasi is a religious place. There's a very famous Shiv temple there.
Correct.
I would recommend a hotel that is close to that temple.
Right.
That is what I would show. So the customer need not even ask that, show me the hotel near this particular temple.
Correct.
If the system can anticipate that need, the customer experience is enhanced. So whatever negative experience they had earlier, this positive experience can really help them. But then all this doesn't mean that I do not need human in the loop. The human touch has to be there. So it's high tech and high human touch. What that means is that, let's say if the customer is facing a problem which tech cannot solve, let's say customer is caught up in a blizzard or is running into a visa issue, or or like is at the immigration counter, or some issue has come up. These are extreme situations. We can train human beings to handle such situations. And if a company can deliver this, if the company can be a companion of the traveler when the person is traveling and is in urgent need, then that is definitely going to elevate the experience. So I would say 90% of the tasks can be automated, 10% human involvement would be needed.
Right. Very well. I think that pretty much, gives away a lot. I think proactive approach is what companies or organizations also kind of need to prioritize to make the customer experience better. Moving on, I think, we have also known about you leading transformative teams. You've turned analytics teams from cost centers to profit centers as well. Along those lines, we talk about a market where data, which is data driven, and data today is of primary importance. It is also considered as a prime. We talk about mindset shifts and we talk about principles and culture as well. As a leader, how do you think we can mix or we can take a blend of both? We talk about deep technology and we talk about transformation. How will a mindset or a culture also make an impact?
So here we are trying to see, how we can lead the transformations, the team transformations, to think more in terms of profit rather than cost, convert
Right.
cost centers to profit centers. So I have done that a lot. And there are three things that I follow. Or basically, there is one acronym I always share with the team, and it's BDOTS, BDOTS. I said, no matter what application you work on, no matter what projects, what systems you build, you have to always keep in mind that it is the combination of B, which is business, O, operations, D, data, T, technology, and S, skills. These five things have to come together to be able to deliver a project or a product. So first thing I tell them is, that don't think in terms of project, think in terms of products, right? So it is not the project that sells, it's a product that you sell. Like if you are in data analytics, data science, don't just build dashboards. Yes, you build a dashboard, that's fine. But build, let's say, a dynamic pricing engine or build hyper personalization engine. And these things will continue to evolve, right? These projects never end. These products get continue to be refined. So I mean, like you had a car model, let's say, when Honda Accord was introduced, it was a very flat model. And look at the design now, because car is not just a vehicle, it's a product. It's a product that people will buy into. So I think like that. Then the second thing is the success of a project. Don't measure based on technical KPIs. Don't think that you improve the accuracy of your machine learning algorithm by 2%. If you tell that to a business person, the business person will say, okay, that's great, but so what? How does that help me? The team should start thinking in terms of business metrics. They have to say that, okay, I built this product because of which the customer conversion increased by 20%, or my cost cut down by X%, or my revenue increased, or something that the business really cares about happened. So all the products, no matter whether they're data analytics, technology, machine learning, Gen AI projects, they have to be considered in terms of business metric. They have to be evaluated. The third thing I say is that, work with a startup mindset. Try technologies. And if something is going to fail, make sure it fails fast. Because fast failure is inexpensive learning. You learn a lot, you know what not to do. Like agentic AI, for example, is like such a new technology, right? And like you have to see if it works for your use case or not. If it fails, fine, right? So I mean, to summarize, I would say think like an entrepreneur, measure like a CFO, and work like a startup. If you can do this, then for sure you will convert into a profit center, because whatever you do will impact your business, your company. Absolutely. And lastly, Dr. Goel, today the future of travel is supposedly going to enter a new era. We know about predictive personalization, dynamic pricing, and of course, AI assisted planning, which is going to become the next norm, or it's already the norm. Looking ahead, how do you see this intersection of data, technology, as well as human insight shaping this future of travel? What is your vision, or how do you think the next chapter of Yatra is, going to be like? Yeah. So, I mean, like this is kind of alluded to before that, it is the intersection of data, technology, and human touch that is going to define travel going forward. So at Yatra, for example, we have an enterprise-wide data warehouse where we capture many different subject areas. You capture searches, you capture bookings, right, you capture, the invoices, payments, and you do this for your B2C business, for business to enterprise, for our corporate customers, you do it for flights, you do it for hotels. When you have a 360-degree view of the customer, right, you can build a holistic customer persona. Right. You know exactly, I mean, like who the person is. And the data has to be so rich that I mean, the system knows everything about the customer at the time the customer comes to the platform, right? If I'm looking for a flight to Delhi to Bombay, there are like tens of flights. What is the flight that I should show on the top? Based on, the customer's past interaction, the hotel that I should be booking, correct, in Mumbai, whether the travel is a leisure travel or a corporate travel. This, I think I should be able to know, based on the customer's history. And when the customer enters the hotel, how should the hotel treat the customer? If they see the customer sitting in the lobby and doing nothing, how you can keep the customers entertained? And you can find ways to cross sell and also like upsell at that point. I mean, maybe you can come up with a strategy that can lead a customer to a spa, right? So that will be an additional earning. But all this will be defined based on data. Then comes technology. So technology in the older terms, like whether you have a Java application, an interface, a portal, and all that is fine. Everyone has that. But what's coming new now is, as I mentioned earlier, would be the LLMs, the agentic AI. I like a lot of customers do not know how to plan their next vacation or where to go. So they have some vague idea as to what they want to do. They may want to go to a beach and then spend some time there. Can you plan an itinerary, a trip for that? So this is where LLMs are getting smart, and we have also implemented them in our bot, the Dia bot. You could say that, hey, I want to go to Vienna, for 5 days from Delhi. So plan a trip for me and also plan an itinerary. What should I do each day? And I want to take day trips to the nearest cities or nearby countries if that's possible. You mention everything that is on your mind, I mean, for your vacation, and the system is going to design a beautiful itinerary for you. It will be day by day itinerary. Day will be divided into 3 parts: morning, afternoon, evening, and then it will show you flight options, hotel options. This was not possible before. Right. If you wanted to do this before, you would go to a travel agent, probably spend half a day trying to figure out what to do. But now here you can do this in a heart. Right. That's where I think the technology, I mean, like, is going to take us. The third thing is about the human insight. So where should the human insight come into play? Not to get your flights, right? Not to make your flight bookings. They should be there to handle bespoke events, the mice events. Mice events are the corporate events that I know mainstream organizes all the time, and these can be very complex, right? You have to take into account a lot of things, who to invite and the venue and what should the design of the venue be to order for meals. So things like these would require human intervention. So now we should be, with the advancement in technology and machine learning and artificial intelligence, we should be able to demarcate, we should be able to identify what is redundant task, what is, a mundane task, what is something that the technology can handle, and where a human being needs to be in the loop. Right. This is, a company that can identify this quickly and efficiently, I think, will be the most profitable, and should be able to survive the future. Otherwise, as I said, B2C business has become a very commodity business. If you want, you and I can open, a website and start selling airline tickets by putting, like a couple of days of effort, right? So, I mean, the technology, the whole ecosystem is there, and like you should be able to be up and running in a short time. That's how commoditized B2C has become. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Goel, for sharing your insights and sharing some of your perspectives as well when we talk about travel today and how technology is going to redefine the entire experience, even from a customer point of view. But before we wrap up, I also have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Basically, anything that comes to your mind first. Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's go ahead. Your favorite travel destination? I would say Vienna. Okay. Your go-to productivity tool or app? That would be Gemini, that is embedded in Gmail. Okay. One tech trend that you're most excited about right now? The immense possibilities because of Gen AI and LLMs. Okay. Coffee or tea, what fuels your productivity during the working hours? For me, it's always tea. Okay. No coffee, yeah. One book or a podcast that has inspired you? Instead of a podcast and a book, I would say it would be Star Trek, the science fiction series, because it gives you a glimpse into the future. What I used to see like 10, 20 years ago has become a reality now. What was science fiction then is a reality now. Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Goel. That was it. And thank you once again for joining us and being a part of this series. While we close this episode, I certainly look forward to connect back with you again. Sounds very good, Simran. Thank you. And thanks to Mainstream for inviting me to this session. I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you. Thank you.